We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Joe Biden is under the microscope once again with the dealings from his family business. The Biden family money trail has become known, courtesy of Representative James Comer. Now, to discuss what's been happening and, more importantly, what's the public reaction to it, we're joined by Liberty Nation's chief political correspondent, Mr. Graham J. Noble. Thanks for being here, Graham.
It's a pleasure, Mark.
So, Graham, what is the situation at the moment with James Comer's money trail investigation?
Well, essentially, they have amassed quite a bit of evidence that I guess we could say doesn't look too good at all. They've used actual bank records and particularly notices that U.S. banks are required to file with the Treasury Department.
The SARS, suspicious activity
reports. And according to Representative Comer, they have the banks actually filed, I believe it was in excess of 170 suspicious activity reports regarding payments from foreign entities going, and I believe particularly from one particular Chinese energy company, but other companies in different countries, payments going into shell companies that were set up by or on behalf of certain members of the Biden family. And so they certainly, they do have an awful lot of evidence. Of course, not all of that has been published yet, which still gives the left-wing media, the establishment media, the opportunity to say, oh, there's nothing there. They've got no proof of anything, which I find kind of funny because they never required proof when it came to allegations against former President Donald Trump.
Or in fact, to as you wrote in your article, to poo-poo the idea of the Hunter Biden laptop story. No evidence required there, just a letter from 51 specialists who now found out they were courted to put that letter together on behalf of the campaign.
That's right.
Now, you did an article, as I mentioned, on the pages of libertynation.com, where you actually examined a recent Rasmussen Reports poll, which really gives, I think, it's almost damning in its results, isn't it?
I would say so. I mean, but basically in this survey, which was conducted in early May, the polling company doing the poll on behalf of Rasmussen basically asked three particular questions regarding the whole Biden family business, Hunter Biden thing. One of the questions was, do you believe that this constitutes a serious scandal? The other question was, do you agree with Comer's statement that he made on a television interview once, where this basically was implicated the entire family, even rather than just Hunter Biden, rather than just Joe Biden, implicates the entire Biden family. The other question was, do you believe that it's possible Joe Biden himself received financial payments from these business transactions? And in each case, the majority of people answered yes, we do believe it is a serious scandal. Yes, we do believe the entire family is implicated. And yes, we do believe it is likely Joe Biden took money. And that was a majority of people across all demographics. It was a majority of men out of the total number of respondents to the survey. Majority of men, majority of women, majority of black voters, majority of white voters, and particularly, and this should be the kind of a warning sign for the White House, is a majority of unaffiliated voters.
I believe was that over 70%. Am I right in thinking the unaffiliated voters was over 70%?
Well, it varied in terms of which question you're talking about. But for instance, the question about this scandal, kind of this scandal is related to the entire Biden family. For instance, it was 72% of unaffiliated voters said that yes, they agreed with that.
That as you say, that really is something the White House should worry about, because even if I mean we're both political hounds, we watch and listen to stuff, read stuff just
Mm.
constantly, and we're kind of used to the big crescendo. We've got the goods, this is coming. We're going to do this investigation, and then well, it's kind of nothing. Nothing really happens.
Yes.
We've seen this time and time again over the years. Uh, but so even if James Comey, Representative Comer, doesn't produce proof, as you say, he has produced a lot of evidence, but I guess what's important in these things is definitive proof.
Mhm.
Even if he doesn't produce that, the fact that the majority of votes across all demographics, and including independent votes, I mean, it's kind of obvious that Republican votes are going to say yes, of
Of
course.
course, yeah.
But the independents,
But having said that, Mark, and you're right, it's obviously inevitable that 80 something percent of Republicans who responded to that poll did say yes, this is a serious scandal, blah blah blah. You would expect that, but actually, the percentage of poll respondents who identified themselves as Democrats, out of those, we're looking at, more than 40% of them. Okay, not a majority, but more than 40% were saying, yes, we think that Joe Biden probably did take payments. Yes, this is a serious scandal. I mean, so that's, you might expect only about 15% of the people who responded to this poll said that they did not think it was a serious matter at all.
I wonder which newspapers they read. Now, let's go a bit further into Joe Biden's other numbers at the moment, because from where I'm sitting, it doesn't look good for the sitting president at the moment. He's got his popularity is still under 50%, hovering around 40. I mean, looking at the averages, the only reason that it's where it is because you get the occasional random you know exactly what I'm saying here, don't you? You get this occasional random poll that says,
You,
"Oh no,
you,
he's got like 60% approval," and
Oh
that
yeah,
bucks it up from like
you get those
30%.
out. You got those outliers that
Yeah,
suddenly go completely the other way and
yeah.
distort that averages. Yes, yeah, but
And
it's
then,
not it's not good for him at all right now. No.
so how do you think he's going to combat all these negative numbers? Do you think he's just going to bury his head, campaign from a basement?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's all he can do. I mean, he's not. I think we now understand, and I think the majority of Americans see, and even I would say that a large percentage of people who perhaps previously supported Biden can now see that his cognitive ability is just not there. He can't run an active physical campaign where he's kind of barnstorming the country and holding rallies. He can't, he's going to struggle debating, which is why the DNC has already decided there will be no primary debates, which I think even a lot of Democrats are outraged
Mm.
at that idea. So yeah, he's going to run, and just like 2020, he's going to run a basement campaign where occasionally he shows up in a McDonald's parking lot and talks to about 20 people, 18 of whom are reporters. It's just going to be 2020 all over again. I think that's the only way he can even hope to pull off another victory.
Just one more quick question for you, Graham, before we have to get off. Do you think the Robert Kennedy Jr., do you think that he is going to pounce on this and risk damaging a Democrat winning the 2024 election, or do you think he's going to let Joe Biden slide on that?
Wow, that's hard to say. I guess it depends how cynical you are about RFK Jr.'s
Sure.
motives. He appears to me to be a man who stands on principle.
Mm.
Even though I personally don't agree with a lot of his views, he's more like a real liberal, a liberal in the classical sense of the word. Is RFK going to kind of be willing to scuttle the entire Democrat hopes for victory in 2024 in order to make a point? I believe that he may well be willing to do that, to be honest. I think somehow the Democrats will conspire to prevent him from upsetting the apple cart, but I do believe that he might actually be willing to go all the way and say, no, I'm not holding back. This is just not acceptable.
Well, if that happens and the GOP primary dust-up that we anticipate comes to fruition, it's going to be quite the season. Graham J. Noble, thanks ever so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides. Entertaining, informative, and just plain fun. Watch Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5. Produced by conservatives for conservatives. C5's The Left Free Zone. Hosted by Liberty Nation's Lisa K. Donner. Joined by a raucous, irreverent panel of authors. Deconstructing leftist narratives. Debating the hot topics. And remembering to laugh. Join the official conservative safe
You only
space.
did that to piss Jeff off.
Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5.